Hello, and welcome back to the weekly astrology podcast where we grab our blankets, light our candles, get cozy, and talk all things cosmos. I am your host, astrologer, and coach, Sarah Posh, and this week brings us to our horoscope tarot card reading episode for the Cancer full moon. This full moon, it's in its dignity, its resource, and it's also co-present with exalted Lord Jupiter in Cancer. The timing of this Cancer full moon, this bright reflection point to all the planets in Capricorn, could not be better. Right now, Mercury, Venus, and Mars are all in Capricorn, getting closer and closer to the sun. And because of their closeness to the sun, they are invisible currently in our night sky. They're in their last moments of this synodic cycle, about to pass through the heart of the sun, all experiencing a cazimi with the sun in Capricorn and starting their new synodic cycle just in the days following this Cancer full moon. And so the gift of this bright Cancer full moon is to see maybe into the invisible spaces of these cycles, these thresholds of completions for each of those personal planets, and the threshold of what the next cycle is seeding for what comes next. We can think of this Cancer full moon as a moment of clarity before action, a moment of reflection before renewal. Also, it's a full moon, which means that it's reached a point of completion or a climax of growth that started with that Cancer new moon back in June. And if you'll remember, that was a very special Cancer new moon because it just so happened to be conjunct Jupiter in Cancer. So it was a Jupiter cazimi new moon. So what Jupiter started at this new cycle in Cancer at the time of the Cancer new moon, that was also invisible at that time. Jupiter was right next to the sun, starting that new synodic cycle. So this repetition of this theme is coming full circle. And now we can fully see Jupiter, and Jupiter is helping us to feel and see what is unseen for the planets Mercury, Venus, and Mars. And because of these cazimis happening in Capricorn, the polarity sign of Cancer, you can think of this Cancer full moon as a mirror showing you where you can work smarter, not harder. And by listening to what your emotional body has already been trying to tell you, there's something special about the turning point of this full moon that's more about validating what you probably already know. If you haven't admitted it to yourself, this full moon is going to make it undeniable. And it's going to be a really good opportunity for you to work with this lunation, to work with really getting clear on your intentions for what you're seeding with all of those cazimis happening in Capricorn. That way, when we get to that Capricorn new moon in a couple of weeks, it's going to create a very powerful opportunity for you to work with that new moon and take all of the clarity that's been culminating and pour it into the right action at the right time. This Cancer full moon, this is not a moment for forcing answers or pushing our decisions. This is the moment where we notice what's already been revealed through our emotion, through our experiences, and these immutable squares really in the past month of December, the last month of 2025's astrology. If we're willing to be emotionally honest with ourselves, there's an opportunity for us to have an even greater sense of confidence and clarity in the direction of what comes next. So as you listen to your horoscopes or as you feel through this full moon, really listen and pay attention. Notice what lights up for you, what emotional truths are coming, and surrounding this theme of where it's time to stop overextending yourself as you're moving forward. And then a final layer of just compounding these themes of taking that pause, of listening and reflecting. There's a void of course moon right after this Cancer full moon that's going to be nearly 72 hours. Besides hitting an opposition to the outer planet Pluto in Aquarius, when the moon leaves Cancer and enters into Leo in the following days, it's not going to be making any other aspects to any other planets. There's no communication lines. There's nothing active or online. This is the time where we really take that step back. We go more behind the scenes and we go even deeper into the space between our decisions, between the conversations, in those spaces of reflection. So before we jump in, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button. You can subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on. That way you're never going to miss when a new episode comes out. And also a reminder that there's a lot of exciting offerings that are now available and linked below this episode, including our open enrollment for the next cohorts of Living Chartwork Level 1. And if you missed our live presentation for the 2026 Astrology Fault Lines and New Frontiers, You can also get that in a digital download with more than 4 hours of our presentation, including our slide deck, and then also that companion workbook. It's 61 pages. It's practical, useful. It's so good. It has all the transits for the year ahead as well. So both of those and my one-on-one astrology consultations, all of that is linked below this episode for you. Be sure to check that out. And also, Happy New Year. This is not just a new year. We are about to go into a whole new era. And I'm wondering, does it feel like you're entering 2026 already sensing not only the major changes, these tectonic shifts that are happening astrology-wise, does it feel like there's that shift happening in you? Does it feel like a happy new new year? I know I'm feeling it. I know it feels like there is definitely no going back. There's a lot of unknown, but there's also this deep sense of knowing on a lot of levels. Comment below, tell me your rising sign and how you're feeling as we step into this 2026 new year, new era, new you. All right, and before we dive into our horoscopes, I'm going to go ahead and just give you the transit overview for the week of this Cancer full moon. So on Saturday, January 3rd, we have that Cancer full moon co-present with exalted Lord Jupiter at 13 degrees of Cancer, happening exact at 2:02 a.m. Pacific time, California time. And then the moon is going to go void of course. Remember, it's going to be void of course for nearly 72 hours. And the next thing that happens is on Tuesday, January 6th, when we've got the moon in Virgo, and we're going to have the sun and Venus come into that cazimi at 16 degrees of Capricorn. And then on Wednesday, January 7th, that Venus that just got reborn as the evening star is going to come into a conjunction with Mars in Capricorn at 18 degrees. This is so cute. It's almost like the lovers are meeting up and sharing secrets right before Mars is going to enter into his renewal with the sun. I love that this full moon week is ending with that sexy meeting of the lovers Venus and Mars, and that it's happening in Capricorn. Obviously, I'm a Capricorn, so I'm a little bit biased. But this sexual attraction, this chemistry, this feels high level boss mode. This feels like the sex appeal of getting together to make some really cool shit happen. Make some really big dreams, big ideas come into reality. We are getting CEO level standard of partnerships going into 2026. And that's how this full moon week ends and leads into the final phase, third quarter phase of the Sagittarius lunar cycle. So with that, go ahead if you haven't already, light your candles, cozy up, grab your blankets. I encourage you to listen to your rising sign, and if it resonates or feels inspiring, go ahead and give your sun sign, maybe even your moon sign, a listen. And of course, on next week's episode, I'm going to go into much greater depth around these synodic cycles with the inner planets in Capricorn. For today's episode, though, we're just going to focus on these horoscopes surrounding this work smarter, not harder theme for this Cancer full moon. So let's get started with Aries and Aries rising. All right, Aries. So this Cancer full moon, it's happening in your fourth house of home, emotional foundations, and family patterns, ancestry, or lineage karma. So that means that this full moon, it's illuminating the difference between your private emotional needs versus the public expectations that you have. You might be coming to new terms or new clarity around what work, opportunities, success, or responsibilities have cost you emotionally. So you're being asked, Aries, to work smarter, not harder, by letting your emotional safety, your inner sense of emotional security, inform your ambitions and not fight through any sort of exhaustion in order to prove yourself. So it's about really taking care of yourself. It's honoring that if you do what not only feels good, but it feels inherently, authentically true to the deepest part of you, that's going to reward such a greater level of fulfillment and satisfaction when you go for those ambitions in your Capricorn 10th house. So something to maybe sit with is, where have you been maybe carrying some sort of sense of responsibility or obligation when it comes to those work areas of life without nourishment? And where are you ready to set this new standard of nourishing your inner world, your home life, your foundations, and also giving up if there's any pattern of self-neglect? This is the moment this full moon is helping you, resourcing you to safely stop those patterns, put that down, and step into a phase of expecting more nourishment for your personal feelings and needs. All right, Aries, that's your horoscope for the Cancer full moon. I'd love to hear. Comment below and tell me, how are you feeling? Are you feeling your feelings? Do you feel good about the opportunity to only say yes and take on responsibilities or move towards ambitions if they're considering your actual needs, your actual feelings? Love to hear from you. Comment below. Let's go ahead and pull your card. So we are pulling cards not from a traditional tarot deck today. I'm actually using an oracle deck, and it's by Colette Baron Reed, and it's the Oracle of the Seven Energies. So that's here for you if you're interested in getting this deck. I really love working with this deck. These cards always speak so loudly to me. And it jumped today. It wanted to be our messenger. For you, Aries, you got this card, a powerful move. And I'm going to go ahead and show you that. It's pretty cool. So, a powerful move. This card is all about taking big action, having a really clear sense of what effort you're going to put in and where you're going to put it in, and really making choices from an empowered and thoughtful place. There's positive change, big things coming, or big things already in motion. And this card is telling you that you have everything you need to take the leadership, to take the helm, and to move your plans forward, but it has to be coming from that empowered, authentic decision point inside. This card also talks about our relationship between the invisible and visible world, the process of taking our ideas or our dreams that live inside of us and working in a co-creative relationship with the universe to bring them into the visible, bring them into the reality, into form. And Aries, that's going to require you to put more focus, more energy, and intention into fueling that co-creative process with the power of positive belief. You need to show up and take aligned action. Is there something, Aries, that you've been putting off? You've been procrastinating? This is the moment that you need to do what needs to be done. You need to take the action that you know is your part of that co-creative process to keep the momentum flowing and to really propel what it is that's already in motion forward in a positive direction. And also making sure that you're checking yourself that you're not limiting the potential of what can come into fruition by having some sort of past expectation of how things have worked out or what's been possible projected into your future. Let go of the past expectations, let go of the past potential outcomes. This is an opportunity for you to keep making those powerful moves, stay in action, and stay in aligned belief as you take those actions. And do the Aries thing. Put those wings on and take that action. New era, new you. You've got this. If you haven't already, it helps the channel so much. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn those notifications on. That way you're going to be here every week when I release this episode. And don't forget to check out everything linked below this episode, including our open enrollment that just started for the new cohort of our small group astrology mentorship program. It's starting in January, so just in a few weeks. I'll be running that program with my astro bestie, Alexandra Blair of 9 Lives Astrology. And this is truly a program that is high level, high touch, hands-on, immersive in your own natal chart. We go through your natal chart, your natal context in a small group, intimate setting, week by week, planet by planet. The first cohort was so special, and it was so incredible to see how everyone came into this whole new expansive and also depth of relationship to their own natal chart and the relationship to astrology and how they use it day to day. So everything linked below, you can check that out. That brings us to our next sign, Taurus and Taurus rising. Okay, Taurus. So this Cancer full moon is happening in your 3rd house of using your voice, conversations, communication, emotional honesty in communication is really important. And also your daily rhythms and rituals. So it's like this full moon, Taurus, it is this bright light, a moment of truth around what you've been saying versus what you actually feel. It's reflecting and revealing where these 9th house old belief structures are quietly in the process of dissolving before beginning a whole new era of your worldview and the long-term plans that you have for the future. And it's giving you this invitation to work smarter, not harder, by speaking from your emotional truth instead of defending beliefs that are ready to evolve and support the future that you're calling in and you're choosing to move forward. So, Taurus, right now, paying special extra attention to the conversations that you're having, the communication that you're giving or that you're receiving. There's something hidden in the messages. There's something deeper that's trying to get your attention, that's trying to give you this reflection of the impact on the day to day and those day to day conversations or your communication patterns and how that's impacting those next big chapters that are going to start, the new long term trajectories of those planets going through those new synodic cycles in your ninth house, as well as all of the other major astrological shifts starting this year. So, Taurus, take this moment, take this pause, take a step back to listen more deeply to what your feelings are trying to communicate to you and what messages in your day to day you need to make sure that you don't miss. All right, Taurus, that's your horoscope for the Cancer full moon. Let's go ahead and get into your tarot card reading today. And today we're actually doing the reading from an oracle deck. We're doing it from the Oracle of the Seven Energies by Colette Baron Reed. So here's that deck. I have it here if you're interested. I love this deck. The cards are always so loud and so on point when I use this deck. And it was jumping to come out to play for today's episode. So Taurus, let's go ahead and pull your card. All right, Taurus, you got the Opening to Discovery card. So this card in the deck, it's all about everything that we were already kind of talking about, but it's talking about the input and output of data, communication, information that flows every single day in our lives. So this card is saying that, one, you need to be mindful around the input that you're having. Maybe doing like a social media detox or taking some time out to notice what sounds, whether it's music, it could be other people's advice or opinions. Something is distorting your ability, your filter to clearly hear yourself and maybe to make really clear decisions. So, going through a little bit of that detox of the input or going through a little bit of discernment on anything that might be not helping you in that filter system. And then the other thing that this card is about is this intuitive seeing. The more that we detox from the noise and the distractions, the things that filter or fuzz up our ability to hear not only ourselves clearly, but also the signs and the messages that the universe is trying to deliver to us. We just talked about this in your horoscope, and this card is definitely amplifying that message. This is saying that the universe wants to deliver some sort of information, some sort of clarity or guidance through your everyday life. So, opening to discovery is opening to intuitive seeing, being so tuned in to your life and your environment that you're listening and receiving life as an oracle. So, getting those symbolic messages, those omens, or having those intuitive hits that really connects and threads everything together in a very meaningful and supportive way. And you've got a Cancer third house ruled by the moon. So, it's so important for you to listen to your body as the messenger, to allow the way that you feel moment to moment, day to day, to be a messenger for what it is that either you need to communicate or decisions you need to make, what changes are on the forefront, and Taurus, how can you amplify the superpower of that third house, that Cancer house of your intuition? This is a special superpower of perception. This is a resource that could go to waste if you're focused too much on listening to the noise, getting distracted with anything around you, or also getting too stuck on your logical, linear style of thinking and planning. Maybe old past patterns around the way that you filter, organize, and make meaning in your interpretations of conversations of life and circumstances. So this is the moment, Taurus, to lead with curiosity. How can you lean into your intuition even more? And if you've been on the edge of maybe doing a social media detox, this card is saying, do it. There's something you need to take a detox from that's distorting your ability to hear yourself clearly. All right, Taurus, I want to hear, how does that reading resonate for you? How are you feeling at the time of this Cancer full moon? Please drop a comment below. And if you haven't already, please, it helps me and this channel so much if you could hit that like button and share this video with anybody that you think might benefit from the reading. And don't forget to check out everything linked below this episode, including our open enrollment that just started for the new cohort of our small group astrology mentorship program. It's starting in January, so just in a few weeks. I'll be running that program with my astro bestie, Alexandra Blair of 9 Lives Astrology. And this is truly a program that is high level, high touch, hands on, immersive in your own natal chart. We go through your natal chart, your natal context in a small group, intimate setting, week by week, planet by planet. The first cohort was so special and it was so incredible to see how everyone came into this whole new expansive and also depth of relationship to their own natal chart and the relationship to astrology and how they use it day to day. So everything linked below, you can check that out. That brings us to our next sign, Gemini and Gemini rising. Okay, Gemini, this Cancer full moon, it's happening in your second house of money, self-worth, resources, talents, gifts. This is what you need to feel supported to live your best life. So, Gemini, there's this full circle moment of the growth that's been happening that's maybe hit a point of climax or fruition that started back with the Cancer new moon in June of 2025. It's asking you to take stock of how much you've deepened your sense of self value and self worth. What is your relationship to yourself, to the value that you bring? What is your relationship to money? What is your relationship to feeling and being resourced? And how is that providing this really honest and clear reflection point to any of the unhealthy or maybe just old patterns around financial or emotional dependency in your exchanges with others? Is there something right now that you're hitting this turning point where you're being called to acknowledge this clear standard and expectation around what you give and what you receive? So, Gemini, that means you're being offered this help, this invitation to start working smarter and not harder by releasing emotional drains rather than trying to secure everything on your own, releasing unhealthy exchanges and agreements with others, and to really be honest about what drains you, maybe quietly just in the background, like a cache that hasn't been cleared, and what needs to end. How is this full moon telling you it will be so much easier? You won't have to work so hard if you're willing to work smarter by getting honest and letting any of the unhealthy eighth house cycles come to a full end, full completion. And on an even deeper level, Gemini, this is about a shift in your sense of safety, your sense of feeling safe, secure, and resourced. So I'd love to hear, Gemini, how are you feeling at the time of this Cancer full moon? Comment below and tell me if you feel like you're owning your worth in a bigger way, or do you feel like Jupiter's been helping you expand and invest into your own talents and gifts, the things that come naturally to you in a way that can resource your life in new ways? Or maybe you're just getting better at handling your finances. And that's helping you realize that there's some people, some exchanges that you don't need to be in debt to. Comment below and let me know. And let's go ahead and do your card reading. And Gemini, today we are doing the card reading from an oracle deck. It is the Oracle of the Seven Energies by Colette Baron Reed. So you can check that out. Love this deck. Every time I work with it, the messages are so clear and so helpful. And the deck really wanted to come for today's Cancer full moon. So with that, we'll go ahead and pull your card. All right, Gemini, you got the Endless Possibilities card. I love this card. I love when I get this card in a reading. It is such a powerful and positive omen. So let's just start with that. This is all about moving beyond limiting beliefs and the filter of any unhealed past conditioning or experiences. It's about using your awareness as a discernment for what is possible. And that means you have to step into this abundance mindset, this state of trusting. Well, first of all, asking yourself, Gemini, right now, if you're being really honest, do you believe that we live in an abundant universe? Do you believe that there are endless opportunities and possibilities? Pause and really ask yourself right now, check in. And if the answer is not yes, then this is a great moment for you to just do some good inquiry and belief clean out, babe. And this card is saying that this Cancer full moon and the future with endless possibilities ahead, it is relying and depending on you to make those shifts internally, to name and to start interrupting and shifting, rewiring, reprogramming. You need a software update when it comes to any scarcity or lack mentality. This card tells us that our conditions, the potential outcomes, they meet our expectations, whether that's conscious or unconscious. So you are more resourced than ever. This card tells you that there are so many possibilities, more than you could ever even imagine, that are trying to come to help and happen with you and for you. It just needs you first to do a little cleanup on your perception filter and to get courageous enough to really answer what it is that you truly want. So, not holding back and answering what it is that you truly want and trusting that that treasure, it's yours. You just need to believe it. So, Gemini, I need to hear from you. Comment below and tell me, how does this reading resonate? How are you feeling at the time of this Cancer full moon and the beginning of this new year? Do you feel a new era of you in the making? And then please, Gemini, if you haven't already, it helps the channel so much to go ahead and hit that like button on this video and share the video with any friends that you think might benefit from these messages. You can also subscribe and turn your notifications on. That way you never miss when a new episode comes out every Thursday. And don't forget to check out everything linked below this episode, including our open enrollment that just started for the new cohort of our small group astrology mentorship program. It's starting in January, so just in a few weeks. I'll be running that program with my astro bestie, Alexandra Blair of 9 Lives Astrology. And this is truly a program that is high level, high touch, hands-on, immersive in your own natal chart. We go through your natal chart, your natal context, in a small group, intimate setting, week by week, planet by planet. The first cohort was so special, and it was so incredible to see how everyone came into this whole new expansive and also depth of relationship to their own natal chart and the relationship to astrology and how they use it day to day. So everything linked below, you can check that out. That brings us to our next sign, Cancer and Cancer rising. All right, Cancer, this full moon is your full moon, babe. Are you feeling a glow up as we move into these new eras into 2026 and this incredible new future that's just over the horizon? Comment below and tell me, if you're a Cancer rising, how you're feeling with this full moon. And please, babe, you best be celebrating yourself, because this full moon, it is all about you. There is this personal celebration and emotional culmination point where you are reclaiming a new level, a new standard of self-definition that has nothing to do with other people or relationships or relationship expectations or what other people's approval might be of you. Cancer, you are stepping into a whole new era of self-trust and also this authority to be at the helm of your life and your future. It might be revealing and giving you this reflection point of those cycles that are ending in your 7th house in Capricorn, how up until this point, maybe in the past, you were being limited by the ways that you were letting yourself be defined by others or by others' approval or opinions of you. Cancer rising, who are you when you stop being shaped by other people or by your relationships? And what I love about this, Cancer, is that for you, as you take this invitation to receive this help to work smarter and not harder from this Cancer full moon, by defining yourself from the inside out instead of through the relationships or expectations of others, that means that those new cycles in your 7th house, you're going to call in and magnetize a whole new standard and level of partnership and relationship. That 7th house gets the upgrade just by you stepping into the upgrade of self-definition. Love that for you. So that's your horoscope for the Cancer full moon. Comment below and tell me how you're feeling and what kind of power you're stepping into when it comes to self-trust and self-definition. Let's go ahead and pull your card. So today, Cancer, we are going to be doing our card reading from the Oracle of the 7 Energies by Colette Baron Reed. If you're interested, you can check this deck out. I freaking love it, and it jumped out. It wanted to be the messenger for today's episode. Let's go ahead and get your card. All right, Cancer rising, your card could not be more perfect from your horoscope. You've got the Uncharted Sea. This card is all about stepping into the unknown. This is about going into uncharted territory without a map, especially a map that was designed or informed from other people outside of yourself. So this card is definitely amplifying this message of moving beyond your comfort zone. It talks about that a lot in this card. So maybe you're getting a full comfort zone shell upgrade. You're redefining this new sense of self-trust and also safety to move outside of your comfort zone, to move and make decisions in your own accord on your own authority without conference calling those seventh house people in before you make that decision or take that step. This is saying keep moving in that direction. Keep going outside of those old predefined comfort zones. And the more that you are willing to go into the unknown, the more that you are willing to trust the ebb and flow of life and trust yourself to move through any dark, unknown uncertainty that is sure to be ahead. There's so much change, there's so much newness happening. But the more you do that, the more it's going to be rewarded. This card also says explicitly that you can't rely on help from your past relationships as resources. You have to start resourcing your own self-trust. So this message is quite obvious. It is loud and clear, and you have everything you need to take those steps to start making your own map. I mean, God, Cancer, this is so good. And I'm honestly really excited to see the full circle moment when we get to June of 2026 and we get the second Venus-Jupiter conjunction in your first house in your sign. That might be a really sweet, chef's kiss moment that you can tie back to this beginning of the year, this Cancer full moon, and this major glow up in self-definition. I need to hear from my Cancer risings. How did the reading resonate? How are you feeling at the time of this full moon? Comment below. And if you haven't already, please do me a solid, hit that like button on this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you like the video, share it with your friends and your family. And don't forget to check out everything linked below this episode, including our open enrollment that just started for the new cohort of our small group astrology mentorship program. It's starting in January, so just in a few weeks. I'll be running that program with my astro bestie, Alexandra Blair of 9 Lives Astrology. And this is truly a program that is high level, high touch, hands-on, immersive in your own natal chart. We go through your natal chart, your natal context in a small group, intimate setting, week by week, planet by planet. The first cohort was so special and it was so incredible to see how everyone came into this whole new expansive and also depth of relationship to their own natal chart and the relationship to astrology and how they use it day to day. So everything linked below, you can check that out. I'm going to go ahead and get to our next sign, Leo and Leo rising. All right, Leos, this Cancer full moon, this big emotional cathartic release is happening in one of the most emotionally sensitive places of your chart in your 12th house. This is the place of the unconscious, the place of our self-sabotaging or self-undoing behaviors or patterns. It's also the place of rest, retreat, of that space between the things we have to do in our everyday, that space between the things that are coming to an end before those next big chapters begin. And this full moon definitely might be giving you a chance to have a major emotional release. So first of all, Leo and Leo rising, just give yourself a chance and permission. Let it get messy. Let yourself feel all the feels, because there's going to be an opportunity at this full moon with the reflection point to that 6th house. You might be waking up in a very uncomfortable way to where you need to inform a necessary ending around over functioning. Where have you been putting in way too much work, way too much time and energy in your 6th house to a point that maybe you've just been ignoring or dismissing do not disturb any signals of burnout or needs for deeper rest? So how have you been just keeping yourself busy, maybe to avoid some of those uncomfortable feelings? And how, at the time of this Cancer full moon, can you accept and receive, be available for the invitation to work smarter, not harder, by honoring rest as productive, not as something that you have to earn, Leo? You just get to receive the rest that you need. You get to receive the time to fully process, heal, and release whatever endings you are bringing to completion before you say yes or get into action and productivity on getting started with the next chapters. Remember, we're going to get all of the personal planets going into the new synodic cycle in your sixth house, and you get to decide what parts of the past you want to bring with you and what parts you don't. So, any overfunctioning, any hyper productivity, any avoidance of rest or feeling, or putting effort into something that is life and soul draining out of a false sense of duty or obligation. And also, I want to say, Leo rising, if you are somebody who's feeling exhausted or you've been feeling exhausted, you've been feeling this need to rest more than maybe you usually do, you have Jupiter in your 12th house, and it's going to be here all the way through next June. And while Jupiter is a benefic, it is here to bring opportunity and to expand or make things bigger. Making that 12th house need for rest or need to do that deeper inner shadow work, that's not necessarily going to feel like a gift. But the more you lean into it, the more it can actually result in great returns, great rewards on the other side of that. And then Jupiter comes into your first house, and that glow up is going to feel so much better, and you're going to feel so much more ready to receive the opportunities with Jupiter in the first. If you're willing to take that time to really let go, step back, and relax, rest when and where you're called to. And I think, Leo, at this point, when we think back to June 2025, when we had that Jupiter cazimi new moon in Cancer in your 12th house, think back to then and come full forward to this moment in time and check with yourself. Has Jupiter in Cancer, has my relationship to the 12th house, has it changed and expanded, evolved, or matured in a way that's helped me soften into approaching these 12th house matters, these uncomfortable places, with more compassion rather than discipline or self-judgment? I'm curious, even if it hasn't gotten easier, have you gotten better at being easier on yourself? Does it feel like you're on your side a little bit more? And if not, if you feel like there's even more space to give yourself more grace, this Cancer full moon is the perfect invitation, the perfect time to do that and ritualize that for yourself. That's your horoscope for the Cancer full moon. With that, let's go ahead and get your card. So today, Leo, we are doing the card readings from the Oracle of the Seven Energies by Colette Baron-Reid. I love this deck. It jumped out to be the messenger for this Cancer full moon. So with that, we'll go ahead and we'll pull your card. Leo, your card could not be more perfect. It's so sweet. I also just love the colors energetically for this card. This is a deep breath. So a deep breath, this is asking for you to really pay attention to some of the fears or feelings that are calling for your attention and your healing. This card is all about slowing down and taking a moment to recognize those 12th house, those like hidden little self-undoing thoughts, patterns, beliefs. How are they maybe having too much power, too much authority in the driver's seat of your life? And this card is also saying that the way that you handle or approach and respond to those 12th house fears or feelings is not by just ejecting them from the car. It's not about judging, shaming, or guilting yourself on top of already feeling the discomfort or the fear. This is about learning how to love the parts of yourself that are afraid. So exactly what we talked about in your horoscope. This card is amplifying this message. It is saying, how can you give yourself more love while at the same time have more inner authority from a place of conscious intention and a radical trust and surrender to the timing and the way that everything plays out in your life. So the next chapters that are coming, they don't need you to take big action right now. They don't need you to eject fear out of the car or reject any part of you that's having some hard feelings. They need you to do that big reparenting work to take authority and take that driver's seat, let fear move to the back seat, and come along with you in a more emotionally mature and intentional way. This card tells us that if you are present, available, and willing to make these shifts to notice and interrupt these long-standing patterns, you're fully resourced, you're fully capable, and you can make big internal shifts happen now. So take that moment, take that deep breath, take that pause, and reclaim the driver's seat with trust, with gentleness, compassion, and a little bit more authority in yourself and your dreams for these next chapters coming, and in those positive beliefs that support those futures. All right, Leo, I need to hear from you. Please comment below and tell me what resonated from this reading, what resonates in your horoscope, and how you're feeling at the time of this Cancer full moon. And also, if you haven't already, please do me a solid and hit that like button on this video. You can also subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on. That way you're never gonna miss when the new episode comes out every Thursday. And if you enjoyed the video and found any of this helpful, please go ahead, feel free to share this video with as many of your people, your loved ones as you please. And I don't want to forget to mention that before you go, make sure to check out the links below this episode of all of those offerings that I announced at the beginning of this episode, including the open enrollment for our next cohort of the small group astrology mentorship program, Living Chartwork. It is hosted with myself and Astro Bestie Alexandra Blair of 9 Lives Astrology. And I am just so excited to continue offering this program and invite our next circle of humans and hearts to connect with. It was such a special and rewarding opportunity to offer this program last fall. And it was really exciting to just see how many people really expanded and evolved this relationship, this curiosity, and a deeper understanding, acceptance, sometimes compassion, sometimes excitement, like a reclamation of their own natal chart and natal context. So that plus a few other fun offerings are all linked below. To get more information, find out, or get signed up, you can check those out. Let's go ahead and get to our next sign, Virgo and Virgo rising. All right, Virgos, this Cancer full moon is happening in your 11th house of friends, allies, those bigger communities or networks that we're connected to. Also, our connection to good spirits. So, our hopes, our wishes for the future, and this space of belonging, both belonging with our people and belonging in the sense of belonging with the belief in a future that we imagine and want to co create. So for you, Virgo, thinking back to when we had that Cancer new moon, Jupiter cazimi in June of 2025, fast forward to the beginning of this new year and this Cancer full moon, and check with yourself. Is there a new level of understanding, emotional clarity around where you belong and where you don't? Are there these turning points related to your future hopes, your goals, those big visions that you have? Are you hitting this place of emotional clarity around what you're leaving in the past versus what's going to take you into the future? And because this full moon is sitting in that reflection point to all of those personal planets about to start new cycles in Capricorn, your 5th house of play and pleasure and creative self-expression, this is asking you to reflect on this idea between play versus performance, and on acknowledging and blessing and releasing, allowing any old creative or performative pressures, maybe coming from that unconscious place or that desire to belong or receive that validation or approval. Those are hopefully reaching a state of just organic, natural dissolution. And so what that means, Virgo, is that you're being invited this option, this opportunity to start working smarter, not harder, by choosing joy and creativity over performance and obligation. You work smarter, not harder, by not trying to fit in to places that don't naturally belong to you when you're giving yourself permission to be your full, uninhibited, authentic self. When you belong to you, so maybe it's about belonging so deeply to yourself that that opens the space for these new friends, these new networks to come into fruition and nourish you, support you to thrive and flourish, bringing those 11th house goals, wishes, dreams for the future into an even greater fruition. All right, so that's your horoscope for the Cancer full moon. We're going to get into your card reading. And this is actually coming today from the Oracle of the Seven Energies by Colette Baron Reed. I love this deck. I have not used it in quite a long time, but it was really jumping out and requesting to be the messenger for today's Cancer full moon. I've had only amazing experiences with using this in my own personal divination rituals and practices. So highly encourage you to check out that deck if you're curious or interested. And that takes us to your card reading. So let's go ahead, let's pull your cards. All right, Virgo, so this is really interesting. The card that you got is Ears Wide Open. And the reason I say interesting is because it doesn't right away jump out to me as something super clearly associated or correlated with a lot of the horoscope astrology that we were talking about. This card is honestly kind of a wake-up call for checking yourself to maybe where you've been defensive or resistant and unavailable to receive some of the things that are right in front of you. There's this need to open yourself back up to really being available to receive a message, to receive some sort of not just insight or clarity, but also this deeper level of connection. What I mean by that is when we are in relationships with others, part of listening is not just through communication. There's other ways that we show that we're listening. Active listening requires this full presence. It requires this gift of giving the other person our full attention and a fully curious state of mind to not let our shit get in the way, like our own baggage get in the way and filter our ability to just hear heart to heart from the people that we care about. So maybe this Cancer full moon isn't necessarily about letting go of old allies or old friends or networks, but it's about getting reconnected and resourcing what you already have in a greater way by getting more present, by acknowledging where maybe you've been a little distracted or you've been a little unavailable to hear what's trying to help you. This card also is about needing to let go of the need to be heard or the fear of being misunderstood. Again, that's all that baggage that just gets in the way. It's our ego shit that blocks our ability to truly be available, to just have our ears and heart wide open. So if there are people that care about you and that you care about, then now's the opportunity to invite them in to open your heart and open your ears and mind to receive maybe bigger ways that they can resource you, maybe deepen that intimacy and your gratitude for the belonging that is already here. I need to hear, Virgo, please comment below. Let me know, how did this reading resonate? How did the horoscope resonate? How are you feeling at the time of the Cancer full moon? And if you haven't already, please do me a solid, hit that like button on this video. Also, you can subscribe to the channel, turn those notifications on. That way you'll never miss when a new episode comes out every Thursday. And I don't want to forget to mention that before you go, make sure to check out the links below this episode of all of those offerings that I announced at the beginning of this episode, including the open enrollment for our next cohort of the small group astrology mentorship program, Living Chartwork. It is hosted with myself and Astro Bestie Alexandra Blair of 9 Lives Astrology. And I am just so excited to continue offering this program and invite our next circle of humans and hearts to connect with. It was such a special and rewarding opportunity to offer this program last fall. And it was really exciting to just see how many people really expanded and evolved this relationship, this curiosity, and a deeper understanding, acceptance, sometimes compassion, sometimes excitement, like a reclamation of their own natal chart and natal context. So that plus a few other fun offerings are all linked below. To get more information, find out, or get signed up, you can check those out below this episode. Let's go ahead and get into our next sign, Libra and Libra rising. All right, Libras, this Cancer full moon is happening in your 10th house. Matters of career, vocation, the leadership roles, and emotional visibility when it comes to your work or your work ambitions. You might be reaching this growth moment, this full circle moment of really celebrating the growth that you've had around investing and accepting, really integrating and prioritizing your own emotional needs and boundaries when it comes to your work, especially thinking back since that Jupiter new moon cazimi in June of 2025. How much have you grown in your relationship with including yourself in the equation of your career, of your obligations and responsibilities when it comes to your work? It also might be a culmination, a moment of clarity on ways that you've been redefining success on your own terms. And the ways that you're redefining success, reclaiming the authority of those definitions in your work or work ambitions, it's shining this reflective, supportive light back to your Capricorn 4th house showing what major changes at the foundation of your life are ready to take shape and take root, and how are they directly related and needed, absolutely necessary in order to support the big future, the big ambitions in your 10th house. This is a moment at the Cancer full moon to receive this invitation to work smarter, not harder, by strengthening your emotional foundation, your inner sense of security, before continuing to chase or pursue any external validation, success, or ambition. So I'm curious, Libra, where are you feeling during this Cancer full moon? Are there some major work projects or work decisions and changes that are coming to fruition or reaching this major turning point? And also, what are you feeling in regards to these major cycles coming to an end for those fourth house planets about to go through the cazimi, about to start a whole new cycle? You get to set a whole new standard of the foundation of your life, of what it means to feel totally emotionally secure, to have those emotional needs met, to have your private life really truly feel like a sanctuary. Comment below and let me know. That's your horoscope for this Cancer full moon. We're going to get into your card reading. And this is actually coming today from the Oracle of the Seven Energies by Colette Baron Reed. I love this deck. I have not used it in quite a long time, but it was really jumping out and requesting to be the messenger for today's Cancer full moon. I've had only amazing experiences with using this in my own personal divination rituals and practices. So highly encourage you to check out that deck if you're curious or interested. And that takes us to your card reading. So let's go ahead. Let's pull your cards. Love this for you. You got the Waking the Lion card. Libra. Ooh, this is about boldness. This is about the courage to really claim that inner authority, to really step into greater, not just visibility, but the leadership of your life. This card is about having that Leo lion pride, to be proud of who you are and who you're becoming, to really own and take bold actions. Be bolder. Go more outside of your comfort zone when it comes to claiming your right to the throne of your success. When it comes to owning that you have so much value and you are so capable of achieving all of your goals and then some, as long as you're willing to step more into your power. This also might be a moment where you need to check yourself and say, is there been a pattern around diminishing the visibility of my power, or maybe having a little fear around truly owning my power? And now it's time. That is not going to work anymore. Libra, this is telling you you have to take those bold steps, that you need to have more strength in standing your ground. Again, maybe that's part of that fourth house new cycle, new foundation. Everything's rooted in a deeper sense of self-trust, self-confidence, and strength and pride, really rooted in a greater reclamation and ownership of your integrity, the way that you show up in your life with integrity. So Libra, this is the moment. This card is definitely confirming that even if you're a little scared, even if there's a little bit of unknown or fear about stepping out or being bold, showing up in ways that might surprise other people to see, it's you that's going to make this shit happen. And you're totally being supported by the universe to start implementing that new standard, that new strength, that new confidence and power. And I would love to hear from my Libras. How are you feeling at the time of the Cancer full moon? And how did this reading resonate? Comment below and tell me if there's any major work stuff happening, or maybe some underground tectonic plates shifting on your fourth house foundations. And if you haven't already, please do me a solid, hit that like button on this video. You can subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on. That way you will never miss an episode when it comes out every Thursday. And I don't want to forget to mention that before you go, make sure to check out the links below this episode of all of those offerings that I announced at the beginning of this episode, including the open enrollment for our next cohort of the small group astrology mentorship program, Living Chartwork. It is hosted with myself and Astro Bestie Alexandra Blair of 9 Lives Astrology. And I am just so excited to continue offering this program and invite our next circle of humans and hearts to connect with. It was such a special and rewarding opportunity to offer this program last fall. And it was really exciting to just see how many people really expanded and evolved this relationship, this curiosity, and a deeper understanding, acceptance, sometimes compassion, sometimes excitement, like a reclamation of their own natal chart and natal context. So, that plus a few other fun offerings are all linked below to get more information, find out, or get signed up. You can check those out. Again, just linked below. That brings us to our next sign and next reading for Scorpio and Scorpio rising. All right, Scorpios, this Cancer full moon is happening for you in the ninth house of meaning, beliefs, the place where we have faith, and also those long-term plans for the future. So, Scorpio, think back to June 2025 when we had the Jupiter new moon cazimi, and think how far you've come, what's happening at the time of this Cancer full moon, the beginning of this new year, new era, and how is it related to an update regarding your sense of trusting what you feel over logic, and maybe some sort of belief shifting that's rooted in a greater emotional honesty, especially emotional honesty with yourself. Maybe asking yourself or checking with this reflection. What truth, Scorpio, feels right, even if it's hard to explain? Explain to others, explain even maybe to yourself. This full moon, it's giving you this invitation to receive a way to work smarter, not harder, by trusting your emotional wisdom, even when the logic hasn't caught up yet. So, this is a moment where the growth and the shifts that are happening in your capacity to trust your own guiding system is reflecting the new cycles that are just about to begin in your third house of daily rituals and rhythms, your communication, and the day to day thinking habits. So, there's a big overall, almost like software update of your self trust and belief system. It's reshaping your worldview potentially, or your view of this long term trajectory. And there truly might just be a way that you're going to work smarter, not harder in the third house day to day. You're going to show up differently because there's a new guiding system. There's that software update of trusting the process, trusting the long term unfolding, trusting time and yourself and your intuition to guide you moment to moment of what needs to be done and what can be set down, what you can let go or stop prioritizing. So, this is your horoscope, Scorpio. I'd love to hear. Comment below. How are you feeling at the time of the Cancer full moon? We're going to get into your card reading. And this is actually coming today from the Oracle of the Seven Energies by Colette Baron Reed. I love this deck. I have not used it in quite a long time, but it was really jumping out and requesting to be the messenger for today's Cancer full moon. I've had only amazing experiences with using this in my own personal divination rituals and practices. So, highly encourage you to check out that deck if you're curious or interested. And that takes us to your card reading. So, let's go ahead. Let's pull the card for Scorpio and Scorpio rising. Ooh, Scorpios. So, the card for your Cancer full moon is the power of purpose. There is a huge cogwheel spiral. That's what I'm seeing is like this mechanic shift. Like the cogs are changing, the gears are shifting. There is a whole new wheel being greased to give momentum and motion for this new future you're moving into. This is so good for ninth house as well. Purpose is a huge theme for the ninth house. And this is you coming to terms with a new relationship of even how you relate to your sense of purpose, your definition of purpose. On one hand, you might be getting really clear on the ownership and authority and confidence in knowing, like, this is my purpose. You might be claiming it in a really big way, or you might be claiming a new sense of self-trust and a sense of trust in who you are and your unique contribution to anything you participate with that's allowing you to relax any need to really define purpose outside of that. It's like this card says, trust that if you're acting in a way that is an integrity to your most authentic self, if you are showing up and having a confidence and authority and owning who you are and what makes you you, what makes you special and unique, then you're exactly where you need to be. You're going to be resourced, guided, supported to put your purpose into motion, to bring your gifts to life. and to be fully resourced to move forward into this next future. This card also is about inner conviction. So, this full moon, this card, this reading, this moment, are you having some sort of new standard of inner conviction? Is there a new way in which you're referencing the compass of yourself, of your internal guiding system, your internal definition and resonance of truth that's giving you this new superpower of trusting and moving forward, like trusting your direction, trusting your choices, trusting that moment to moment, choice by choice, how you participate, what you say yes to, and maybe what you say no to. And so, yeah, this is the moment to definitely really integrate that new up level of not needing other people's approval, letting go of the people pleasing, letting go of any of the noise or distortion that used to impact your way of hearing your own self or hearing the truth, that inner compass. This full moon is like, that is so done. That is so in the past. And that up level is going to change everything about the way that you go into the future. So keep honing that, keep integrating that. This is so exciting for you, Scorpio. I need to hear, how are you feeling? Comment below and tell me if any of this reading resonated. And if you haven't done so already, please do your girl a solid. Hit like on this video and share this video with anybody that you feel could benefit from their reading. And if you haven't already, you can also subscribe to the channel, turn those notifications on, and that way you're never going to miss when we get cozy every Thursday in a new episode. And I don't want to forget to mention that before you go, make sure to check out the links below this episode of all of those offerings that I announced at the beginning of this episode, including the open enrollment for our next cohort of the small group astrology mentorship program, Living Chartwork. It is hosted with myself and Astro Bestie Alexandra Blair of 9 Lives Astrology. And I am just so excited to continue offering this program and invite our next circle of humans and hearts to connect with. It was such a special and rewarding opportunity to offer this program last fall. And it was really exciting to just see how many people really expanded and evolved this relationship, this curiosity, and a deeper understanding, acceptance, sometimes compassion, sometimes excitement, like a reclamation of their own natal chart and natal context. So that plus a few other fun offerings are all linked below. To get more information, find out, or get signed up, you can check those out. Again, just linked below. All right, Scorpios, thank you so much. I am so stoked for you, babe. I can't wait to see where your intuition takes you in the future. And now we're going to go into our next sign, Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. All right, Sagittarius, this big emotional Cancer full moon is happening in your 8th house. Whew, what a loaded house. What a loaded place for a Cancer full moon. And honestly, what a great place for a Cancer full moon to unload, to offload some of the things that you don't need to take with you. Sagittarius, the 8th house is our place of exchanges with others. So the agreements that we come into of saying what we will give and what we will receive. The 8th house also has to do with those big feelings that show up when we're going through major life transitions, that space between endings and beginnings, or stepping into any of those unknown territories brings up some of those 8th house feelings of fear or mental anguish. And in a way, it's helpful sometimes because we need some of our instinctual animal body survival skills to move through the unknown or to move through big change. But right now, at this Cancer full moon, Sagittarius, you are being invited to redefine safety on your own terms, to redefine the agreements or the standard of exchanges of what you give and what's available to receive in your relationships with others. This is also a chance for you to check in since June of 2025, that Jupiter Cancer new moon cazimi. What have you realized is reaching a full cycle of growth? There is something to celebrate in relationship to maybe your new capacity to have emotional vulnerability, deeper levels of intimacy and safety in our relationships, and less need for those old survival strategies of self-protection that really keep you unavailable from receiving the resource of support from other people. So checking in right now and listening to receive this invitation This Cancer full moon is saying you can work smarter, not harder, by allowing support instead of carrying everything on your own. You can work smarter, not harder, by investing in agreements with others that feel balanced, that are life giving exchanges, not life or emotionally draining. And also, maybe just getting smarter about some of your nervous system regulation techniques, some of your grounding tools and practices, so that when you go through those big transitions of the eighth house, it doesn't have to feel so hard. You feel more equipped to create and sustain that internal sense of safety through the unknown, through the spaces in between. All right, so that is your horoscope portion of this reading, Sagittarius. I'd love to hear from you. How are you feeling at the time of this full moon? Comment below. We're going to get into your card reading. And this is actually coming today from the Oracle of the Seven Energies by Colette Baron Reed. I love this deck. I have not used it in quite a long time, but it was really jumping out and requesting to be the messenger for today's Cancer full moon. I've had only amazing experiences with using this in my own personal divination rituals and practices. So highly encourage you to check out that deck if you're curious or interested. And that takes us to your card reading. So let's go ahead. Let's pull your card, Sagittarius. All right. So your card for this Cancer full moon is Birds of a Feather. This card is so good for you, Sagittarius, because this is all about community. This is all about resourcing right relationships. It's moving from states of survival into thriving, or allowing even the good things that are already going well. This card says it could go even better. It could flourish even more if you are able and willing to tap into a greater sense of community support. So if you aren't already invested in some sort of local network or maybe a greater community, what is it? Who are some like-hearted, light-minded people that you're starting to invest yourself, invest your time and your energy into? Maybe you're making some major changes of letting those old networks or communities go, and you're in this eighth house in between, like don't quite have the new peeps yet. But you can get really clear on the new peeps you want to call in. You can get really clear on the new standard of what you give and receive in those communities and exchanges. And this card says that as long as you stick to what truly resonates as helpful and true to your heart when you get involved in any sort of community, any sort of sharing within relationship and exchange, then you really can't go wrong. The universe wants to help you start and enter into this new future, new era, and offer even greater possibilities than you previously expected that are maybe going to even make you some more money, right? With those new cycles starting in your Capricorn second house the week after this full moon. But it needs you to put yourself out there, to wear your heart on your sleeve, and to start engaging or investing more with the right people at the right standard of give and take between us. So I'm curious, how are you feeling? Did anything resonate? What resonated from that reading? Sagittarius, please comment below. Inform me. I need to know. And if you haven't already, please do your girl a solid. It would help this channel so much if you can hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notifications on. That way you'll never miss a new episode when it comes out. Also, if you enjoyed this video, maybe share it with your Birds of a Feather community. And I don't want to forget to mention that before you go, make sure to check out the links below this episode of all of those offerings that I announced at the beginning of this episode, including the open enrollment for our next cohort of the small group astrology mentorship program, Living Chartwork. It is hosted with myself and Astro Bestie Alexandra Blair of 9 Lives Astrology. And I am just so excited to continue offering this program and invite our next circle of humans and hearts to connect with. It was such a special and rewarding opportunity to offer this program last fall. And it was really exciting to just see how many people really expanded and evolved this relationship, this curiosity, and a deeper understanding, acceptance, sometimes compassion, sometimes excitement, like a reclamation of their own natal chart and natal context. So that plus a few other fun offerings are all linked below to get more information, find out, or get signed up. You can check those out. Again, just linked below. All right. Thank you so much, Sagittarius. That's going to bring us to our next sign, Capricorn and Capricorn rising. All right, Capricorn. This Cancer full moon is happening in your seventh house of intimate relationships, one-on-one partnerships, business partnerships, client partnership, anybody that we are partnered and in it to win it with. So you're hitting this major turning point, this mark of maybe some big growth or change that's been happening for you in matters of relationship. Thinking back to June 2025, thinking back to that Cancer new moon, Jupiter cazimi, what are you realizing? What's grown and expanded in your life when it comes to matters of relationship, when it comes to partnership? Maybe there's a new definition of partnership. Maybe, because you're a Capricorn rising, there's been an upgrade in your capacity to receive the support of leaning on relationships that you can trust, that you can lean on, and have a more equal balance of give and take in those relationships. So it's almost like the growth is asking, are you a little softer and more emotionally vulnerable and available for relationship and partnership? For the right relationship and partnership, we shall clarify, and almost recognizing and claiming the old patterns of having to self-armor or of having to be or show up as a certain version of yourself in order to feel safe in your relationships. How is that coming to an end? How is that reaching this new level, new standard, new starting point? And part of that is related to the fact that the full moon in your seventh house right now is reflecting this light on all of the new cycles with the personal planets just on the cusp of beginning in your first house of self. So it's wanting you to see how relationship patterns or past experiences are mirroring your own personal emotional patterns and your own personal self-identification, your own sense of self-confidence and feeling confident about moving forward in your direction of the future. And the way that this full moon is inviting you to work smarter, not harder. You're a Cap rising. We always know you're working harder than you need to. But right now, reflect on this. How can you work smarter, not harder, by softening your self definition and letting connection be a source of strength? So it's about letting the right people in, allowing yourself to soften your sense of needing to be a certain way or version of yourself, especially when it comes to self definition in context of partnership. Let yourself be open to learning about a new sense of you that's not going to be the caregiver, the caretaker of all the other people in your life. Oh, what would that be like? And how does that change you? Like, you have to identify yourself as somebody different in an equal partnership. So that is your invitation, your challenge, and your horoscope for the Cancer full moon. We're going to go ahead and get into your card reading. And this is actually coming today from the Oracle of the Seven Energies by Colette Baron Reed. I love this deck. I have not used it in quite a long time, but it was really jumping out and requesting to be the messenger for today's Cancer full moon. I've had only amazing experiences with using this in my own personal divination rituals and practices. So highly encourage you to check out that deck if you're curious or interested. And that takes us to your card reading. So let's go ahead, Capricorn, and pull your card. Okay, your card for the Cancer full moon, Capricorn, is a Merry Motive. So this card is all about knowing, well, obviously, your motivations for things. So the intention behind the ambition, the intention behind your big goals, or why you're doing or putting effort, moving any sort of plan or goal forward. This card is about slowing down and getting clear on the why before the how or the what. So Capricorn, there is a book. I don't remember the author right now, forgive me, but it's titled It Starts With Why. And conceptually, that's coming up to me with this card because it really says that instead of more on the productive day-to-day task orientation of action planning in building a successful business, or for you, probably a successful empire, it focuses on getting back to the root of the why as the very necessary, strongest starting point to start moving forward. It changes the trajectory, shortens the distance, and amplifies and magnifies the power for you to call in and get resourced and speed up the flow of your manifestation, speed up the flow of success, or expand the possibilities of manifestation related to what your big goals are. And then also this card, which I love, you can kind of see like the vibe of it. It just reminds me of, going camping, being around a bonfire, sitting with people that you love, and everything is just so peaceful. There's nothing to do, nowhere to be, nothing to answer to outside of just relaxing into this space, into this moment in time. And so, this energy also of kind of resting back a little bit more in what you're putting in or what you're wanting to put out into the world and push forward into the future. I feel like this card and this full moon, it wants you to experiment with using energy of the merry motive, of being really excited, a little bit more playful and joyful in the way that you approach, think about, relate to, and move into action when it comes to your big goals. Capricorn, this merry motive card also is saying that there's already things like manifestations, future goals, big things that you have in motion. So it's not that you're on the cusp of starting something. Maybe you already sense or feel, recognize some momentum starting to build. But this card is saying that in order for that momentum to get even greater or to be sustainable, it needs to have a matched level of belief and perception. Energy flows where attention goes. So this card is saying that if you are noticing there's still some attention giving, unhelpful attention, maybe coming from some seventh house Cancer shadow sides of resentment or bitterness, of betrayal. Is there any unhelpful attention going to your past experiences or the past relationships that let you down? And also, it could also have to do with having some unhelpful focus on your competition. Seventh house is also our open competitors. Are you stuck at comparing yourself to how far you are compared to somebody else? Or the way in which you're approaching your goals compared to somebody else? You gotta let that go because you're just giving away precious resources of the power of your thought, of your attention, your perception. So bring it all back to you. Bring it all back to positive reinforcements and belief in your success. And don't forget that if you're unsure about your why, if your motives or intentions behind the things that you've put into motion are not clear, the results are going to match that. So this is a good time. You don't have to rush to keep things into motion. You don't have to worry that they're going to fail or that you'll fall short if you take this really important and high quality time to take that step back and really deepen, anchor in your clear why. So that's your card reading and your horoscope for this Cancer full moon. Capricorn, I'd love to hear how are you feeling at the time of this full moon. Drop a comment below. Tell me where you're at. And if you haven't already, Capricorn, please do your girl a solid, hit that like button, share this video with some friends, or maybe some 7th house peeps or family members, and subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on. That way you know you're never gonna have to worry about missing any of the new episodes that come out on Thursdays. And I don't want to forget to mention that before you go, make sure to check out the links below this episode of all of those offerings that I announced at the beginning of this episode, including the open enrollment for our next cohort of the small group astrology mentorship program, Living Chartwork. It is hosted with myself and Astro Bestie Alexandra Blair of 9 Lives Astrology. And I am just so excited to continue offering this program and invite our next circle of humans and hearts to connect with. It was such a special and rewarding opportunity to offer this program last fall. And it was really exciting to just see how many people really expanded and evolved this relationship, this curiosity, and a deeper understanding, acceptance, sometimes compassion, sometimes excitement, like a reclamation of their own natal chart and natal context. So that plus a few other fun offerings are all linked below. To get more information, find out, or get signed up, you can check those out. Again, just linked below. All right, thank you so much, Capricorn. That is your reading for the Cancer full moon. Let's go ahead and get to our next sign, Aquarius and Aquarius rising. All right, Aquarius, this Cancer full moon is happening in your sixth house of physical body health, the place of our labors for you. It's a Cancer water house, so maybe emotional labor, themes of that nature coming up. And then also your daily grind, your daily efforts, the energy investments that you give or prioritize. This is bringing some sort of full circle moment where you're really recognizing a major turning point of growth. And if you take a second to look back to June 2025, think about what was starting to percolate and change, maybe underground or internally, related to these sixth house themes when we had that Cancer Jupiter cazimi new moon. You're reaching this point as we open and enter into 2026 and all of the new eras of the future that's giving you a chance to celebrate and continue, or to acknowledge and cut and discontinue the changes you've made in your day-to-day, your habits, your relationship to your body and your body's feelings and needs. So not bypassing the needs of the temple and the vessel that carry you into the potential future success and fruition of your manifestation of your desires, your dreams. How have you grown? How have you grown and matured in a sense of expanding your capacity to take care of and nourish your body, to take care of and nourish your feelings and your needs? And how does that relate to your relationship and the growth and maturity you've developed around productivity and the idea of productivity, the idea of what you give your time and energy and effort into? Are there some projects that you're bringing to a close? Are there some obligations or work contracts that are changing, shifting, and it's reflecting this growth, these healthy, better boundaries around your time and around your needs? So think about what the body or schedule is asking you to release at this Cancer full moon. And also, how is this sixth house full moon reflecting this inside view of the new cycles that are just about to start on the cusp of new beginnings in your 12th house of rest, the need for time and space away from the everyday, the place of self undoing or the blind spots, the patterns of the past that keep us stuck in old cycles, old loops and behaviors. There's something about this full moon time where you're seeing you are reaching a new relationship, a new cycle of how you can see and work with the pattern interruption, the 12th house inner shadow work, and also the call to rest, embracing rest as a radical reset and not allowing those 12th house old limiting beliefs, patterns, the just things we do when we aren't in the conscious driver's seat. It's like you're just on the cusp of starting a whole new way of operating where that is in the back seat and you have full driver's seat authority and capacity. And pay attention to this Cancer full moon's invitation for you to work smarter, not harder, by listening to your body's signals and needs and limitations rather than overriding them with discipline. That is just so good for a Saturn ruled sign. Like, the more you actually apply that discipline towards the boundaries of taking care of yourself, and when you up level and respond to the way you treat yourself moment to moment, day to day, and the better boundaries that you set when it comes to your work obligations and your day to day schedule, that is what's going to be making the work of bringing the future into reality so much smarter and easier versus you having to go down any old roads of working way harder than you needed to. Update the systems, update the process, update the boundaries, and the up level is just waiting for you. All right, so Aquarius, that is your horoscope reading. We're going to go ahead and get into your card reading. And this is actually coming today from the Oracle of the Seven Energies by Colette Baron Reed. I love this deck. I have not used it in quite a long time, but it was really jumping out and requesting to be the messenger for today's Cancer full moon, I've had only amazing experiences with using this in my own personal divination rituals and practices. So highly encourage you to check out that deck if you're curious or interested. And that takes us to your card reading. All right, Aquarius, your card for this Cancer full moon is the Roots of Abundance card. I freaking love this card for you. I love this card in general. This is so good. I mean, right away, we just think about the abundant security and confidence, the unwavering stability of a solid, rooted oak tree. That tree, it ain't even worried about a windstorm. It's not going to be uprooted. It's so abundant in its sense of stability and internal security. It's so rooted within itself and its relationship to life, the earth. There's just no shaking it. There's no shaking it, no matter how much we quake it. And also, this card is saying at the Cancer full moon, regardless of the temporary windstorms of our external outer conditions, this card is saying, are you operating under a life is happening to me or life is happening for me mentality? This is a moment where the Cancer full moon needs you to let go of any victim mentality you might be carrying. Part of your resistance or part of what's keeping you limited to actually tap in to these crazy deep roots of abundance, this potential for so much more than enough, is getting out of that victim mentality, getting out of trying to protect yourself by labeling what's happening as happening to you, trying to contextual and like define and punctuate, like you're diagnosing the moment that this is what that means. And it's unconsciously maybe that 12th house stuff, that you're resetting. It's like you think you're doing yourself a favor. You think that you're creating a sense of safety or security with accepting this temporary outer condition. But what you're actually doing is you're acting from a place of fear. You're acting from a place of not truly trusting that life has your side, that you are totally resourced always. So check in at the time of this full moon. Do you truly trust, Aquarius, that you are always taken care of, that you are supported by life itself, by the ecosystem of this life? And remember that life will resource you. It will respond and nourish you according to your beliefs. So reclaim the power of tapping in to this resource that is always available for you. Tap into a relationship with stability and security by saying yes to more positive, life-affirming beliefs, more positive perception when you start trying to interpret external outer conditions, temporary windstorms of circumstance. I dare you to be like a tree and stop pretending that any winds of change or circumstance is even capable of ever uprooting you or the potential of your future. And also, there's something just very obvious about staying grounded. So what are your grounding techniques? What are your grounding practices going into the year ahead? This is going to be really important for you. And part of that is the 6th house boundary work, taking care of your body, and having any sort of nervous system regulation techniques, anything that can really drop you back into your body. When you do just a slower breath, your body, your nervous system is re-regulated at a pace that matches this abundance mindset, this trust that I am always supported. And that's what magnifies and opens you to receive the help that you need versus spinning off in mental looping, ungrounded states of thinking or behaving, which is like those old patterns of saying yes to way too many people for way too many things that you don't actually get much out of. I think that message is pretty clear. So Aquarius, I want to hear from you. If you're an Aquarius or an Aquarius rising, please comment below and let me know how this reading resonated, how you're feeling at the time of this Cancer full moon. And if you haven't already, please do your girl solid, hit that like button. And I don't want to forget to mention that before you go, make sure to check out the links below this episode of all of those offerings that I announced at the beginning of this episode, including the open enrollment for our next cohort of the small group astrology mentorship program, Living Chartwork. It is hosted with myself and Astro Bestie Alexandra Blair of 9 Lives Astrology. And I am just so excited to continue offering this program and invite our next circle of humans and hearts to connect with. It was such a special and rewarding opportunity to offer this program last fall. And it was really exciting to just see how many people really expanded and evolved this relationship, this curiosity, and a deeper understanding, acceptance, sometimes compassion, sometimes excitement, like a reclamation of their own natal chart and natal context. So, that plus a few other fun offerings are all linked below. To get more information, find out, or get signed up, you can check those out. Again, just linked below. All right, Aquarius, thank you so much. That brings us to our final sign of this episode. Pisces and Pisces rising. All right, Pisces, you're getting this super beautiful and sweet Cancer full moon co-present with exalted ruler Jupiter in your 5th house, the feel-good house of the chart. Pisces, this is the place where joy, creativity, emotional expression, emotional satisfaction and fulfillment, desire, pleasure, all of that lives in our 5th house. It's the place of pure creativity or pure self-expression just for the sake of the feeling it provokes, the feeling of joy, freedom, whatever it brings up in you when you aren't thinking twice about any sort of outside approval or performance rating. You're not thinking about the audience when we're in the 5th house. We are just in the heart in our 5th house. And a moment to celebrate the growth that really started back in June of 2025 during the Cancer new moon Jupiter cazimi moment. Now you enter into 2026 and think about what creative desires have started to emerge or re-emerge. How have you grown in your ability to trust, lean into, letting pleasure lead? You're a Pisces rising. Jupiter rules your chart. It is the exalted ruler of your 5th house. You're meant to follow the flow of what feels good, of your intuition, to trust that this mutable, double-bodied water rising sign, it doesn't have one direction, one path. It's meant to go with the flow. It's meant to be able and willing to say, well, this was feeling good, but now it no longer is. I changed my mind. So not getting stuck or stagnant in that flow and allowing pleasure to really drive. And so this full moon that you're celebrating all of this, you're just like, yes, I am claiming this. And it's also reflecting all of those new starting points that were just on the cusp of seeding and beginning in your Capricorn 11th house. So how is reclaiming joy replacing this pressure or obligation to belong or to fit in or to prove or receive validation or approval from the 11th house audience, friends, networks that you're a part of? There's something that you're seeing that there might be a whole new level or standard or opportunity of engaging, participating, becoming a part of something larger than yourself in that 11th house that's going to reflect and honor and match and really value and support this continuation of where the 5th house has already grown to. So this isn't just, I finally learned how to let pleasure lead or to, give creativity and joy more space in my life. And that's so good. I'm glad I figured that out. And now it's like that's complete. No, this is just the beginning. And the more that you are open and willing to receive connections or invest in communities and dreams that truly light you up, circles that truly see you and help you feel good about your unique talents, your unique expression, your unique way of whatever it is that you bring into this world from the heart. Oh my gosh, Pisces, there is just unlimited potential for you. And the way that this Cancer full moon is asking you to work smarter, not harder, by letting things feel good versus feel necessary, by letting things be easier, by letting yourself step back so that life can step in and support you more. Allowing yourself to be in that receptive mode is how you get into a state of working smarter and not harder. Doesn't have to be so hard. Let your 11th house help you out. Let them come to you. Let yourself be awake and available to receive any of those invitations, to say yes when it's a full body hell yes. Follow that flow until it no longer feels good. And then you'll know, and you'll wait for the next invitation. All right, Pisces, this is your horoscope for the Cancer full moon. We're going to go ahead and get into your card reading. And this is actually coming today from the Oracle of the Seven Energies by Colette Baron Reed. I love this deck. I have not used it in quite a long time, but it was really jumping out and requesting to be the messenger for today's Cancer full moon. I've had only amazing experiences with using this in my own personal divination rituals and practices. So highly encourage you to check out that deck if you're curious or interested. And that takes us to your card reading. All right, Pisces, this is so cute. You received the Great and Full card for today's reading. So this is all about getting into that state of receptivity that we were talking about. It's so funny. It kind of looks like one of those old, when you would win, why is this so hard? Like a trophy. Oh my God, it looks like a trophy. But it also is this beautiful golden cup with wings on it. There's like fairy dust and wings, and it's gold. So it's this beautiful like amulet, receiving kind of cauldron of potential and possibility. And then also a trophy. I'm seeing a trophy. I don't know. But there's something this card is saying that right now, at the time of the Cancer full moon, at the time and threshold of entering into not just 2026, but into all of the huge tectonic plate shifts starting this year in 2026, is getting into a true felt sense of prosperity and gratitude. Gratitude attracts more generosity and opportunity. Gratitude is the energy of more than enough. This Cancer full moon card is saying, where and how are you investing in the abundance mindset of more than enough? Having a potentially just daily routine of doing a mindful gratitude practice. Like maybe from now and through that Capricorn new moon in mid-January, and all of these inner planets starting these new cycles in your 11th house, Pisces, this is a really good time to use this window. Just have a daily practice, a gratitude practice. And in the practice, include both things that you're grateful for that you already have. They're already here. People, places, things, opportunities, anything, whatever floats your boat that you're genuinely grateful for. And include the things in the mindset, writing in the present moment as if they already exist, the things that you seek to call in. And as much as you can, try to get in contact with the feeling that that manifestation, that future opportunity or reality, what would that provoke in you? What is the fifth house feeling that you imagine that outcome would result in? And how can you amplify the resonance in the now within yourself with that feeling as a stronger magnet to bring all of that matches and resonates and amplifies your opportunity, your flow, your manifestation process to you. It all wants to come to you, babe. It doesn't want you to go to it. That is just so clear. So Pisces, definitely this card says drop the comparison, drop the impatience, drop the overworking, over efforting. Don't work so hard. Come back into the alignment of this more than enough abundance mindset. Come back to surrendering and trusting in the truth that there is always enough, more than enough. There's more than enough time, more than enough opportunities, more than enough magic circulating in our universe to conspire on our behalves. So this is a miracle card. Honestly, you might see as you start doing this after this Cancer full moon, if it felt like it was really quiet and the impatience or the comparison was trying to get in the driver's seat, then you didn't. You switched gears. You got into the cup. You got into the let it come to me mode. I mean, I imagine there's going to be some really cool things that shock and surprise you in the highest and best ways, that give you an even deeper sense of appreciation and joy and inspiration than you've already grown to let yourself tap into with that fifth house. So Pisces, I love this for you so much. I'd love to hear how you're feeling at the time of this Cancer full moon. and how any of this reading or horoscope resonated for you in today's episode, please drop a comment below. And if you haven't already, it would help me so much. Please do your girl a favor. Go ahead and hit that like button, and it supports the channel to subscribe, turn notifications on, share the video, spread the message, spread the love, support the channel. I appreciate you so much, Pisces, and thank you for getting cozy and being with me on this Cancer full moon, the beginning of this 2026 new era. And I don't want to forget to mention that before you go, make sure to check out the links below this episode of all of those offerings that I announced at the beginning of this episode, including the open enrollment for our next cohort of the small group astrology mentorship program, Living Chartwork. It is hosted with myself and Astro Bestie Alexandra Blair of 9 Lives Astrology. And I am just so excited to continue offering this program and invite our next circle of humans and hearts to connect with. It was such a special and rewarding opportunity to offer this program last fall. And it was really exciting to just see how many people really expanded and evolved this relationship, this curiosity, and a deeper understanding, acceptance, sometimes compassion, sometimes excitement, like a reclamation of their own natal chart and natal context. So that plus a few other fun offerings are all linked below. To get more information, find out, or get signed up, you can check those out. Again, just linked below. Thank you so much to anybody who stayed with me to the end of today's episode. I hope that this Cancer full moon serves as this supportive, juicy, really comforting and cozy hug and confirmation of the clarity that's been happening, the confidence in the new cycles just about to begin and be seated. May these next cycles for all of us, may these next major tectonic plate shifts in the collective in astrology, may it all begin for all of us with intention and not urgency. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Sarah Posh, astrologer and coach, and I will be back next Thursday to dive into the final astrology of this Sagittarius lunar cycle. Right before we start the Capricorn new moon mid-January, I'm giving you a big, cozy Cancer full moon hug and wishing you all the best. I'll see you next week.